Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 24 with the Oakland Athletics. In our previous episode, we went through the offseason. Actually, I forgot to sum up to opening day, so that's on me. This is a very new looking Oakland A's. Specifically, hi there. Our $40 million man, who's going to become very expensive very quickly, and we're desperately hoping actually pays out. We've wanted this giant middle of the order force for a while now, and we might finally have it. The thing is, though, we're earning so much cash, our player payroll is still a pittance, because everyone else is earning way more than we are. So that's the good news, right? The good news is that we can still make this work with our shiny new acquisition. Rest of the lineup looks pretty similar. We got Chris Hughes in a trade in the early offseason. He's going to be our new shortstop, at least for now. And maybe throw a few innings at the back end of the bullpen while we're at it. Caleb Sellers at first base. We're playing Michael Mullinax at center field. Mr. Mullinax here is our other outfield acquisition, and hopefully he'll be okay. Because Minor needs more time in the minor leagues to truly be a really good center fielder. After his first full season, he really struggled to hit, and so I think we need him to work on that a bit in the minors. So Mullinax Ford here is very deliberately designed to be a stopgap, although it's a couple of team options, so if we decide we want to keep him, we can. And then Adonis Guzman is our new catcher. Albeit a very limited one. He's excellent defensively, but he can't hit his way out of a paper bag. But because he is so brilliant defensively, I think he kind of makes up for that. And then we do have Mr. Sugasti here, who's at least a little bit better. So those are our lineup changes. So actually a fair few, but also some hits like Rodolfo Romero sliding over to second, Oviedo, Peyton Green, of course, and then Jesus Jacobo, who took on kind of a starring role last season. Our rotation is mostly the same with the addition of Hunter Brown. Mr. Hunter Brown was our big pitching expense. And by big expense, is actually very reasonable. He essentially replaces Ian Anderson. Now, that being said, it's certainly not a guarantee that he's going to have a great season, but he is coming off of a really good one. If he can stay healthy, I think he'll pitch some meaningful innings for us and help the rest of the team work out. Our bullpen continues to evolve. There are some old friends here, but also some brand new ones. So let's look at it in my new default mode. We can figure out who we've actually acquired. So, we begin with Oliver Camilo. Mr. Camilo here was a Rule 5 pick for us. And somebody we hope can adequately provide some meaningful innings when we need them. Chrisman, Fairbank, Lambert, Perez, and Zumbrum are all long-standing Oakland pals. They've all pitched at least one season for us. And our closer is now Pete Howell. I don't know how I feel about that, but I guess it's a thing now. We'll have to see if he can handle the role. He did have an excellent season last year, and a pretty good season the year before. I do think Mr. Howell took a little bit longer than we might have preferred, but he seems like a pretty good choice. And then, of course, Chris Hughes is going to chip in and throw some back end of the bullpen type work. So, really the only new bullpen guy is Camilo. Everyone else has been here for at least a season, if not longer. So, Um, a lot of the season is going to rest on a couple of players, but most specifically, it's going to rest on Mitchell. If Mitchell, look, even if we reduce his expectations slightly for playing in a smaller park, I still think we should be able to get 4 to 5 wins out of him. And at that, $40 million is expensive, but it's reasonable. And given that we're already, 12 years into the future? Sorry, 11 years into the future? The calculus might actually have upped a little bit. So I still think we're getting decent value for the giant salary he's being paid. But we will have some tricky decisions to make both during the season and in the offseason. Because we do have 2 free agents. I guess technically 3. And I don't think we can keep either of them. Unless Lynn's willing to take a pay cut, and I doubt he is. Which is fine, right? Like, it's acceptable for him to depart. I do kind of wish we had some more starting pitching prospects in the upper minors. Like, there's a couple here that I wouldn't weep if they had to throw a couple of games here and there, but I'd like to have at least one. Guys, Caleb Loris is driving me fucking nuts. I don't know why he can't develop at all, but it's getting real fucking old. Like, real fucking old. Like, his potential is essentially gone now. Like, yes, he looks like he still might be an okay reliever, which I guess that's fine if that's what he does, but he is not. And you wonder, you're like, Abby, why do you value intelligence so highly? I can't promise that's why he looks so bad. Or what's even going on with, you get 2 innings and this bullshit. I still haven't quite cracked this particular code, why my pitchers don't pitch very long in the minor leagues for the most part, but as it is, that's where we open up our glorious season. A couple of things to talk about during the season. One of these is going to be Oviedo. Mr. Oviedo here wants a pretty substantial raise. And I've got to be honest, he hasn't really performed like a player that deserves a big raise. He's performed like a perfectly fine baseball player. I certainly don't dislike him. But the idea that I'm paying him $10 million plus seems less than ideal. I think we need to see like a reasonable breakout season from him. Basically, I'm looking for 2032, but more games. That's kind of what I have in my mind as his potential ceiling, along with his excellent defense to solidify the outfield. I'm not saying we're going to get rid of him necessarily, but I am going to say it's getting more challenging to keep him. Part of it is because he's left-handed, right? And we know that this place eats left-handed power hitters alive. That's fine. But yes, I said it would come down to 2 players. And we already mentioned Mitchell, right? The other is surprisingly Romero. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Romero. I'm hoping we get elite defense out of him, coupled with his already fantastic bat. That's kind of what I'm hoping for from Sharky here. And I think he can very probably make that. Very probably. Hughes is important, but if it turns out that he's not capable of playing shortstop in the big leagues, that's not the end of the world because he's still a fantastic reserve. If I decide not to keep him in at shortstop, and then we can always shop around for some infielders. Ed Arnett is very, very close to being major league ready, so he'll be a nice reserve for us once he gets a bit more time in the minors. So, looking forward to that. At some point, guys, we're going to have to let Steve Litwin hit in the major leagues. I don't know how much more he can learn in the minors. But I think because of his terrible start to last season, I do think we need a bit more playing time for him before we hand him the keys. I'm really hoping for Minor to take a step forward offensively, though, because his first season in the majors was actually really disappointing. I'm hoping that a year in AAA in the Pacific Coast League will help him restore his confidence so that either later on this season or early next season, we can bring him back. Enough jibber jabber, my friends. No, I apologize. One moment. All right. You want me to make the playoffs? Top 100 prospects. We don't have anybody in the top 10. I'm not sure that's unfair. We saw the number 6 overall minor league system, so I'm still pretty okay. Even if we don't have any prospects in the top 10. I've got a lot riding on Cabral. I'd like him to start performing, but he's kind of old already for rookie league. I don't know why he is struggling, but hopefully he figures it out and figures it out quickly. But there is at least a reasonable chance that a couple of the players in the top 10 will end up graduating to the major leagues, and that could make some room for people. All right, my friends, to the next month we go. Let's see. Luberta has improved a bit, so has Romero. Green is declining slightly. That'll be an interesting storyline to watch as the season progresses. Jonathan Spanos now looks like a reasonable catching prospect. That's pretty cool. I can dig that. Daciel Minor improved his batting eye. That's helpful. Dan Jacot is throwing harder than ever. Ed Arnett got better. Eric Simons got slightly worse. Eric Mitchell got slightly better. Sean DeWitt is only improving his potential. I need him to actually... Like, if we are planning to replace a guy like Oviedo, it's got to be someone like DeWitt, which means Mr. DeWitt needs to start actually hitting in a big way this season. Like, this is going to be a definitive year for his development, but I think he can handle it. I genuinely do. Because if he can step forward, he could make us go, Oviedo who? Because he basically does everything that he does, but better, which is always a fantastic feeling. That wasn't really a month, it was just 2 days. We ended up locking up Chris Hughes for a little bit longer. I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit on this deal, but I didn't want his arbitration numbers to get crazy. And I think the fact he's both a reasonable two-way player, but more importantly, that he could be a starting shortstop. This is a steal for a starting shortstop. And plus, the fans apparently love him, so there we go. I am going to say that if Caleb Loris doesn't make meaningful progress by the end of this first couple of months, I think we're going to trade him. Like, at this point, I'd rather take a risk of him becoming an ace with somebody else's team than and try to get a couple of quality pieces instead of just holding on to him and hoping he figures it out randomly. 300 homers for Soderstrom is kind of neat. I mean, Loris has improved, not by very much, but he has. Swanson is a skosh worse. Hunter Brunn is starting to decline a bit. That was always a risk with him. I can't say I'm too surprised. And then not really any other big movement in any direction, really. So Hunter Brown maybe one and done. That's what the team options are for. But I still think he does have something to offer us. Andrew Painter just got a big new deal. Good for him. Admittedly, he has had a couple of really excellent seasons in his prime here. So I'm happy for him, but I needed to save the money. And I think we got some pretty decent players for Andrew Painter. Just kidding. We might get Josh Fearington. Because Nate Arthur is already gone. So I guess that does chalk up as an L, if not for how much money that cost us. Tyler Soderstrom is approaching just hit 300 homers, which is great. But he's an example of kind of empty homers in that he still only has like 20 WAR basically, which for a player with 10 years in the league is pretty pathetic. I'm not gonna lie, guys. It's not great. At times you hit home runs and have no other marketable skills other than your ability to hit home runs. Let us advance to the month of June and see where that leaves us. We seem to be scoring runs okay, which is always great news. It's always appreciated to see big crooked numbers on the scoreboard. I am quite sorry. Let me get a big old drink. Danny Gross just earned some interest from me, which is great. Sean DeWitt continues to improve. Brad Shaw keeps adding velocity to his repertoire. That's only going to help him. Some good stuff happening in the low minors with catching prospects. Nate Patty just improved a good bit. You love to see it. What about Desmiel Minor? How is he improving, if at all? He is hurt. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh, you got 3 homers against Oviedo, which is amazing. He got Player of the Week. And so we have 2 months into the season. First things first, we're 8 games above 500. That's fantastic. That's a great start to the season. Offensively, we are better, but not by as much as I would have thought. Derek Mitchell's apparently forgotten how to hit for average. That said, he is clubbing the bombs, and he is drawing the walks, and so even if he doesn't hit in the 270s, he's still incredibly valuable. So far, this experiment is working out all right. Oviedo is taking a step forward. Remember, I did say that if we're going to keep, I wanted to see him take a step forward, and it looks like he has been. Hope he can keep that up for the whole season. Peyton Green is sliding a little bit. And I have to admit, this isn't unexpected. He is already 31 years old. And his decline phase is still really good, especially given this number right here. I doubt very much that Mr. Green will take such a pay cut his second contract. He is also declining defensively, so that's something else you might need to consider as time progresses. Romero is actually struggling His power seems to be all but gone. Hopefully, he can pick that up in the second half, though. And I feel pretty confident that he will. I think he's just adjusting to the new position, and that's fine. Chris Hughes has actually been really good. Like, I know, the game obsesses about his pitching stats. Who the fuck cares? That's not what he's here for. He is here to hit, and hitting is what he has done. And he's also played a pretty mean game of shortstop. The errors are a bit much. But overall, I'm fairly pleased with his ability to play shortstop. Jacobo is concerning. This is maybe the first player I'm looking at, and I'm like, this is not sustainable. A 184 batting average from your DH is no bueno, and I do think some time in AAA might do him the world of good. So that's, I think, the first change we're going to make, is we're going to send good old Mr. Oh, really? I hate this. I hate it so much. If I send him down, I lose him. Because somebody else will claim him. I guarantee it. Fuck you and your options, dude. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take off the requirement to start him at DH. I think if they want to bench him, that's reasonable. You should play him where you think he can do us the most good, not necessarily starting him at DH, because for whatever reason, he's off to a slower start. I kind of want to give Litwin an opportunity. The problem is, all of my outfielders would require getting through... somebody would probably grab Ochoa, wouldn't they? That seems pretty likely. Like, that's the issue with all my outfielders. If I wipe any of them, they're all gone. But I do want to try Litwin. I'm going to trade Garza. I'm going to see if I can get a prospect for him. If I can get a green dude, I will. But if I can't get green, then I will get the best. How are you, Danny Baker? Luis Estrada, meh. Elmer Loomis, meh. There's a lot of meh here. Chris Busby is potentially not meh. But he is somewhat limited, and he's going to have to make some steps forward in hitting for average if he's going to be a major leaguer. Philbrick is a pretty good hitter, actually, but he's a terrible catcher. Tim Lee is fine. He'd have to make a decent-sized step forward to be somebody truly helpful. But he is a good corner guy. And there's value in that. Valario will never be anything other than a second baseman with that rag arm. I don't really want to bring on anybody that'll cost me money. I think I will go ahead and go after Busby. And maybe also... Maybe if I get Philbrick and Busby, I'll call that good. But if I can only get one or the other, then... Yeah, so we're going to submit the offer. And he accepts it. So let's hit complete trade. Done. And then Mr. Litwin, you get called up to the big leagues. Biasco is another one we're going to have to make a decision about in the near future. But for right now, I'm happy to let him keep tearing up AAA. Mullinax is meh. Mullinax is not an exciting offensive player. But he should be better than he is. So this is a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. Pitching, Mike Swanson melting down is not encouraging, except for the fact he's basically the same pitcher he was last year. He's just getting hit harder for some reason. This very much strikes me as bad luck, not bad pitching. Our defense is actually really bad, which is not amazing. Who is playing such poor defense? It's not Romero or Mitchell, for sure. It is Hughes a little bit, but it's mostly Mullinax and Green, which is not ideal because I don't have ready replacements for either one of you. I probably need to get Minor back as soon as he is healthy and ready to play. Or maybe we just start Ochoa in center field. Maybe not. Yeah, I think we just let that work out the way it needs to work out. So I guess the question is, no, I think Hughes can still be an okay shortstop. Hughes might move to third, actually. That's the other possibility, right? Is that when Green departs, Hughes shifts over to third. So we have a spot for him somewhere. It's just a question of where. Even if I wanted an elite defensive shortstop, I don't really have one on the roster, is the issue. I have some pretty decent ones, but I don't have any truly elite defensive shortstops, I don't believe. Let's do shortstop, and let's sort by defense. We did have Alejandro Cardenas, who is an elite defensive shortstop, and he just cannot hit at all. But I will shortlist you. Because if you do improve even a little bit offensively, I do think you've got a chance to stick in the big leagues as an elite defender. David Padilla is a shortstop. As a center fielder, he's not a shortstop. All right, comrades, let us go ahead, and I've already made one move. Jacobo's not mandated to be in the lineup anymore. So Litwin basically takes his place. I'm fine with that. And then hopefully Jacobo can work some shit out off the bench. Because I cannot have him hitting this poorly. Hopefully Litwin can start making some moves there. Alright, team. I need to do by starting pitching. The thing is, I don't have a starter that I trust yet. I don't know if any starters have in the high minors that I really think are automatic for a promotion. Turning Venegas into a starting pitcher might actually be really smart. This might be a possibility for us here in the future. But wait, Crispin got bumped into the rotation. Crispin should have been a starter the whole damn time. So I think it's actually a really solid move, and I think it should be. I think it should pay nice dividends here. So we do have at least one replacement starter, and we do have Luberta if somebody really struggles. Swanson, he just got to get his shit together because this is wild. His BABIP has just skyrocketed for reasons that just don't make any sense. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen here once July rolls around. I forgot about Chris Busby. I did not realize he needed a 38-man roster spot, so I will do that and then send him to AAA. There we go. But I did notice that our catcher has a rag arm. That's definitely disconcerting and maybe something we have to do something with. Wow, Litwin. You finally get an opportunity and you sprain your damn thumb. Biaskoa. Let's see if you can figure it out. I'd like to get a genuine pitching prospect if we could get one. I think that would be lovely and very valuable. All right. I don't know why Chris Hughes is the top player. I'm pretty sure that was going to be Derek Mitchell, but all right. Okay, we got a whole slew of coaching decisions to make, so we'll do that here in just a moment. None of these. Oh, Sean DeWitt's now the number 4 prospect in the major leagues. That's pretty exciting. All right. We're going to do one of these, and then let's get coaching sorted out. Our chemistry is actually really good, so I don't want to get rid of people unless there's a good reason to do it. And Mark Kotze always signs his own bench coach, so I can't do anything about Bob Henley, but he's already signed to a 2-year deal, so that's fine. I think Bradley Cantor is doing a fantastic job with our offense. He's got us hitting at a 260 clip as a team. I think that's pretty valuable. And so I think, Mr. Cantor, you can have yourself an extension. Jeff Collins is still a pretty solid team trainer, and I think keeping him also makes some sense, so we're going to do that. Dave Daniels is... Like, we don't win the World Series without Dave Daniels last year. And he's already in his 60s, so I think one more contract with us is perfectly fine. I want to keep the band together because we do have great chemistry, and we did just win the World Series. Brian Corey is a pretty solid pitching coach. But I think we might be able to do better. So I think Brian Corey is going to be the first coach that's going to get replaced. Alvarez can stay. Brian Corey might retire anyway, given his age, so that's fine. I want Vicente to be a manager. I think he's wasted as a hitting coach, but if somebody retires, he will be on the very short list of new replacements. I think for the manager of the Rookie League, I think Venable is not eligible for extension. I think Cotham and Barney can both get new contracts. I don't think either one of them is, like, really terrible. They're not amazing, but, you know, I've certainly seen much worse players. For certain. So really the only guaranteed opening we're going to have is going to be AAA pitching coach. Whether that means Alvarez gets promoted or more likely David Carpenter is going to depend. Yeah, we are still playing very poorly in the minor leagues, so I don't know what's going on with that. I just can't be bothered to care about it. Let's sim June so we can see how people develop or don't. Alright. Perez is getting a little bit worse, as is Ochoa. That's whatever. Elisha Kingsby got better. Well, apparently Chris Wenzel is a pitcher, not so much as a hitter. I don't like him as a pitcher either, though. He kind of sucks. Alright, so Caleb Loris. Is he ever going to be a decent starting pitcher? That seems highly unlikely to me. Not impossible, but highly unlikely. If we turn him into a starter, he's thoroughly unimpressive. I think we need to trade him. I think keeping a guy like Loris, hoping he might turn into a mediocre reliever, is just a really bad bet. Especially because his development has been so slow. He's 22 years old and he's only gotten worse. He throws harder, which is great. But that hasn't come with actually turning his skills into actual talent. That being said, like, this isn't the worst pitcher I've ever seen. Like, this isn't a terrible starting pitcher. The thing is, if I don't trade him, I have to put him on the 40-man. And maybe that's fine. Or maybe having him is fine as a 40-man guy, but that's something we're going to have to think about really hard. We got decisions to make here come off-season time. Elisha Canada will never play third base, so trading him actually makes some sense. Let's try to flip Mr. Canada here for a good prospect of some variety. I'm getting some offers, which is great. Yeah, Jimmy Franklin's not that impressive. Julio Vargas is pretty decent. He's also only 8. Oh, hi there. Hello, Alejandro Ceja. It's all about that change-up for him. Okay, I've got my trade. If I can make it happen, I would like to get Mello and Bonilla. If I can get both of y'all, I would be very, very happy. You might well tell me to go fuck myself, which is fine if you do. But I do think that would be a very beneficial deal here. You're asking for genuinely decent prospects, which is not a surprise to me in the least. You're giving up legitimately good prospects, too. What about Ibarra? Yeah, Ibarra's is a left-handed power bat, and I don't feel confident that he's going to be super successful, so we're going to make this trade. Prospect for prospects, improve some depth there. I want a starting pitching prospect, though. So I guess the first question is, can we find one that is worthy of the Oakland A's? And I will put together a decent package of prospects to get the right pitching prospect. So, have no concerns there. I want pitchers, include minor leagues. Here goes search all leagues. 16 to 20. 22 actually is fine. I want potential at least 65. That's my benchmark here. And search. Oh, sorry, I didn't specify. I wanted a starting pitcher, and I want stamina of at least 45. There you go. There ain't that many such prospects, so it looks like Milwaukee might be the most willing to deal them because they have 3 of them. Although, Chris McDevitt would actually be a really nice prospect for us. He's really smart, got great stamina, a really good mix of pitches. I'm going to start by asking for Chris McDevitt. And I'm going to open the bidding at Caleb Loris. I have to give you Cabral. Am I okay with that? I mean, we desperately need a great young pitcher. Like, that's not a question. And I think he is that. I don't know if I want to give up Cabral, though. What if instead I offered you Alex Mueller? Gaitan, huh? Yes, done. I will absolutely. I do want to track Gaitan to see how he does, but I'd rather give up Gaitan than Cabral because Cabral is closer to the big leagues. Gaitan is a very long time away. Can I get you to throw in something else though? What if I also ask for Edgar Reynoso? How does that make you feel? I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make this deal. Because I am betting that McDevitt will continue to be a great pitching prospect and that these jabronis won't end up being anything special. Mueller is a mostly average-based outfielder. He is very smart. He's got high character. What if I drop Mueller, actually? I like Mueller the best of these. Let's do this one. Let's do Gaitan and Loris for McDevitt. And submit offer. Almost. You want Frank fucking Moreno, my backup shortstop. Absolutely done. I have never been more confident about a deal than that one. And I do need a new backup infielder. Ed Arnett, you're in, my friend. Go nuts. Alright. Is Mullinax playing well at all? He's not terrible. And I do want Minor to get that bump by playing in AAA a bit longer. So I think Minor comes up when rosters expand, and then we shall go from there. Any other deals I want to make? I do like me a Danny Isaacson. We might end up finding a role for him down the road. I think Jonathan Spanos might end up taking over as a backup catcher at some point over, like, Sugesti. I still need a better catcher, though. No matter how great you are defensively, and I do enjoy your captaincy, I am struggling with the justification to keep you around. Because you're not a very effective catcher. But here we are. Okay, bullpen's looking great. As predicted, look at Mike Swanson's ERA, which has significantly dropped because he's allowing fewer hits. I think he is easily a more valuable pitcher. Now the question becomes, when do we call up our new toy? Because that time will be coming quite rapidly. I do want to see McDevitt pitch a little bit in either Double A or Triple A. But I do think he won't be long for the minor leagues. In fact, I could see him getting called up as soon as maybe around the time rosters expand if he develops nicely, and if he doesn't, probably closer to spring training of next year. All right. Camillo and Perez both made the All-Star team. Derek Mitchell made the All-Star team. And that's it. We only get 3 All-Stars this year. I guess that's alright. Really? Rodolfo Romero couldn't bump Ismael Alanis? That's a thing. We're second in runs scored, though. So it's actually really exciting that we have some darn fine baseballing going on. I think Romero should have made it, to be honest with you. And I think Oviedo had a fair shot, as did Peyton Green. But here we are. No All-Star appearance for Peyton Green, sadly. Note that Peyton Green doesn't have 10 years in the league yet and already has more WAR than Tyler Soderstrom. I think that's incredibly demonstrative of the value of a player. It's hard to say that Chris Hughes has not been what we were hoping for. Oh my god, stop listing his stupid pitching stats. I don't care. Yeah, league average offense combined with pretty solid defense is really all I'm looking for. And he's actually grown into playing shortstop quite well, so I'm actually really pleased at that. Caleb Sellers is becoming an issue. There's so much raw potential here, and yet he isn't achieving it. He is getting better, so the fact he is getting better does give him some immunity from criticism. But this guy should be raking, and he isn't. So hopefully he can work on that and be the best version of himself in the near future. Where's Biascoa starting? Oh, he must be DHing. Yeah. I mean, hey, the dude finally figured out how to hit, which is excellent news and highly welcome if he can manage that for the full season. So, draft time. Kind of a bit of a drafty draft. Who are our prospects? McDevitt, obviously. And then Cabral and DeWitt. Sean DeWitt is not quite forcing the issue, but he's very close to forcing the issue. Because he is getting better and better every single day. I don't know why you're playing him at center. I don't think he can handle center long term, but still, that's pretty decent. All right, amigos, let us do some drafting. We're going to look at all players. Like, the chance of any of these players making it to me at pick number 31 is very small, and if it is any of them, it's going to be one of the relievers. Like, let's not even pretend that it won't be one of them. Yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that, but it does set us off at kind of an awkward spot. There is Mr. Voltaire here, who is a fantastic pitcher. And I do think the idea of having a quality long-term reliever is really tempting to me. So I think I'm not going to overthink this. I'm going to go ahead and take Volpert. Easy pick. Alright, now we get into the nitty-gritty. Because now I've got to be a little bit more circumspect. Let's look at Dan Tyler. Dan Tyler has awesome movement, stuff, and decent control. A nice mix of four pitches and fastball, changeup, sinker, cutter. His stamina is pretty okay. He'll add a little bit of velocity, but probably not very much. He is fragile, though. He is fragile. So I think I'm going to look at some of these other picks, and then maybe if he falls to the 3rd or 4th round, we take him. Danny Bauer is perfectly fine, and not somebody I'm going to back up a giant pile of cash for. Alright, Ian Giuliano. Very good defender. Excellent defender. Except for the arm. A potentially decent bat. He has him bouncing around a lot, though. He's already starting to decline before he even plays in the major. Before he even gets professional baseball experience. What about Jim Visigoth? First of all, his name is Super Gremlin, which is honestly amazing. He's a really fucking good pitcher. Holy shit. Yes. I'm not gonna pause. He's amazing. And not just because his nickname is fucking Super Gremlin. Which is great. It is truly fantastic. Drafted. I will take Giuliano with my 4th round pick. I think that's fine. Alright, Joe McGaffey keeps slipping. Why don't people like him? He is a sidearmer, but he's also a great hitter. Yes, I will happily take Joe McGaffey. I don't care whether he hits or pitches. As long as he plays well, he can play all the positions if he wants to. We've only have 2, higher tier prospects left in Soto and Medrano. Edgar Soto is somebody I could definitely see adding to our club. Done. Dunzo. A nice upper tier 3rd base prospect for free seems pretty good. I like free. It's one of my favorite words in the English language. And then I'm just going to let my scouting director pick the rest of the draft, because honestly, it's not that enticing. And so we can see what happens there. Alright, let's negotiate. Joel Volpert wants his full 4.5 million. That's fine. We're going above slot for Super Gremlin, but honestly, I'm perfectly happy with that. Edgar Soto wants 1.9 million. I am not at all convinced he's worth 1.9 million, but I think I'll do it anyway because I do have the cash. We end up picking Josh Leaf. I'm not that impressed. I could be better off going to college, my friend. And Trail Montanillo is just completely uninteresting to me. So, alright, let's go up to the trading deadline, and then we will make some decisions. You'd offer me Gavin Williams, who is a relief pitcher, and a mid-tier first base prospect for a mid-tier reliever. I'm not saying this is impossible, but I'm saying I don't fucking want Gavin Williams. Like, he doesn't do it for me. If you find somebody better, then by all means we can chat about it. Litwin, you're going right back to the minors. No, I don't want to give you Bielskoa, but I wouldn't mind having a guy like Silseth. But I think I'll pass. I do think I'll pass. I'm not that excited by it. Daniel Guerra is whatever. LeBerge is whatever. I am not at all opposed to trading Sugasti. I do think we're going to put him on the block because I think I can get a better backup catcher for my own minor league system. I'm also going to go and add Lynn as onto the trading block and see if I get some offers for that. We'll make a spot for either Volpert or McDevitt. Maybe both. The thing is, I don't necessarily want Vesia. And Mike Marshall's not interesting enough to me. I'm sorry. Especially since you want a fairly decent trading prospect, too. I just don't want mediocre relievers. Like, I can get relievers just within my own system. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop into the trading deadline day and we're going to try to make a couple of deals. The people, they want Sagasti. It's just a question of getting somebody I actually find intriguing enough to make the deal. Are there any good players that I definitely want to add myself? Not really. Guerrero's tempting, but I can't afford him. I know that for a fact. Unless you ate most, if not all, of his salary. Tanner Burns, I'd only be interested in if we could keep him for another year or two. Now, Chris Clark is the first starting pitcher I'm actually looking at here that I would actually very strongly consider acquiring. Because I think he would make us a better team. I could probably even get him to stay for fairly cheap. What would... Oh, wow. Okay, well, fuck you then, buddy. Alright, well, good offers really aren't on offer right now. Pete Crow Armstrong would be a nice addition, but not at the money and not for somebody who's made out of tissue paper. Alright, so it's mostly relievers are on the market. That's not a problem. Let me go ahead and reject each and every one of these trades. Because none of these trades do it for me. And I don't really want to give up a guy like Biasco. Here's my issue. Guerra's not good enough, and Labarge is so uninteresting to me. I mean, I suppose we could do it. Yeah, I will make this deal. I think that's fine. Catching wise, I'm gonna go ahead and put Mr. Spanos up in the majors to be the backup catcher. And then Mr. Guerra here, I'm actually gonna turn around and trade because I don't really have a need for him. So any kind of decent prospect, and I will pull the trigger. I like Orozco. I might just go right for Orozco and not even hesitate. There we go. We're gonna wait till the next day and see if I get any other interesting offers. So who do I want next? I probably want to try to move Lynn if I can, but I probably won't be able to because Lynn is not a very good pitcher anymore, and I just don't see us getting a ton of interesting players for that. You give me Amari Broaden. Interesting. You're absolutely not getting Dave Allen. Don't be fucking stupid. Caligari is a catcher who can't catch. So I will happily give him to you. Yeah, let's go ahead and acquire Mr. Broaden here. And then let's trade Lynn. I will give nearly anything to be rid of Lynn. I will even eat his entire salary if I can get one or two interesting prospects for him. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and eat the rest of his salary for this year to try to get a better prospect. Jonathan Genova looks like he'd be a pretty solid pick. Let's do it. I wonder if I could get Johnston too. Will you stop? Can I get Johnston too, please? Yep. I'm going to start stepping down how much money. Okay, I'd literally have to eat his entire salary for you to be able to afford it. That's fine. No problem. Alright, so for right now, Broaden is going to take that roster spot. And we're going to see how he manages for the rest of the season. And then... I want Volpert to get at least 1 month of seasoning, but I have a feeling that if he improves even a little bit, that he will be in the big leagues very rapidly indeed. I guess all the trading I wanted to do on deadline day. Like, there's nobody else I have whose contract is expiring that I have a reasonable chance of getting anything for. I mean, I could try trading Kita. ketoacidosis and just get anything, but I have a feeling they're just going to tell me no. I can get a mediocre first base prospect. Normally I would be okay with that, but for now, finish today. It wasn't the sexiest deadline day, but I think it was good enough. I think we got a couple of okay players for a reasonable sum. Got some nice prospects. Let's finish today and see how player development works out. All right. Luberta got better. Fairbank got better. Danny Gross got better. Miner got better, although he's losing his center field defense, which doesn't make me very happy. Sean DeWitt is getting better, which is frankly scary. But in a good way. Definitely in a very good way. Alright. So Miner's becoming a better hitter, but a worse center fielder. I don't know how I feel about that. But I do think we're going to call him up, because I think he doesn't really have much left to prove at the minor league level. We brought him into a reliever, eh? I mean, I guess that's okay. Oh, because Lubert is back in the rotation. Alright, we can try that out. Nothing too crazy for Volpert yet, which is fine. Or McDevitt, but that is also fine. Any changes to make to the Major League roster at this point? Not really. I think we're mostly okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna fuck with anything. We're just gonna skip on down to September. And that'll be when we make some of our moves. That'll be when we call up people like Miner and maybe a couple of other players to get some reps down the stretch. Let's try to put some distance in the AL West if we can. We can try to get that coveted bye. I think that would be pretty good. Shoulder inflammation for Derek Mitchell is most definitely not good. I'm not okay with that. Let's go ahead and call up, do I want to call up Miner or Litwin? Let's call up Miner. And then we can move on from there. I mean, this is part of the deal, right? Like, he does get injured. It's a thing that happens with him. And, yeah. All right, roster expansion. Good. McDevitt is now ready for the big leagues. He's already up a foot of 40 out of 70. I don't know what else we're waiting on. Good stuff. Although I don't think it's wrong of us to keep him in the minors. At least for now. Like, I think our current rotation is perfectly fine. I'm a little sad that Mike Swanson is now topping out at 50. I thought he genuinely had a chance to end up as a 55 or a 60. But there's nothing wrong with having a pitcher that's a 50. I think I'm alright with that. Relievers look really good. Good stuff happening here. Miners shifting over to right field. I think that's probably okay. Especially if he can hit. If he can figure out how to hit, then I don't mind what position he plays at, and we can try to find a new center fielder, maybe. I have a lot of call-up spots. Is there anyone in particular that I would like to call up? I definitely want a couple of bullpen arms, so I'm going to add Greg Wiltz for certain. I want to add Steve Litwin. Maybe Chris Busby. Get some extra outfielders out there. I will add Venegas. That seems solid. I'll also add Ben Hayden. And I think that's going to be it. As much as I wouldn't mind calling up either DeWitt or Volpert, I think we're also better off if they get a little bit of time in AAA to develop a bit before they're kind of rushed into a major league situation. So that's kind of where we are right now. How close is DeWitt to getting the call? Honestly, he's going to get some opportunities in spring training. I think that's the earliest I'm willing to pull the trigger on him, just because it's really important to me that he works out. It's really important that we have another really great outfielder. An embarrassment of riches. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. Jacobo has improved slightly. Like, he's still played a lot more than I wish he would. But his inability to hit for average is really sinking the entire package. So we're going to have to see if he can achieve the dizzying heights that his track record suggests he might. With all that said, I think we are okay to advance the time. Do I have any mid-tier catching prospects that might do with some reps? Guzman is really good defensively. But you're also already on the Major League roster. No, Linares is the only other catcher on the 40-man. And he's real dumb. Alright, to the end of the regular season we go. Losing Baden Fairbank is actually really disappointing. I'm kind of sad about that. But I'm going to call up Cullison. You may be wondering why am I not calling up Volpert? It's because Volpert can't be on the postseason roster. So I think it makes a little bit more sense to just call up a guy who's... Because he's just going to be back into the bullpen, right? That's his only job. He's just to hang out at the back end of the bullpen and pick up the odd inning or two when we need it. We get Derek Mitchell back. That's awesome. We've already clinched a playoff spot, which is great. Come on, do not get fucking swept by the Mariners. Okay, we've clinched the division. However, I don't think we're going to get a bye. I think we're going to be the third division winner. Because we cooled off really bad down the stretch, and the Yankees and Guardians were able to keep pace pretty easily. Check this out. Baden Fairbank improved his things here. Volpert got better. McDevitt got a little better. Danny Gross got better. You love to see it. Good, good. Any other movement for Sean DeWitt? No. Okay. That's fine. So is there anything for us to play for at this point? Yes. If we win and Cleveland loses, I think we have one more game and we can play for the bye. So we need to win today if we can, which we did. But if Cleveland also won, then it doesn't matter. Yeah, Cleveland also won. So that's unfortunate, but that's okay. Let's get the postseason roster set. So let's begin by going to playoff roster here. You are not leaving Mike fucking Swanson off the postseason roster. Do not be fucking stupid. We will leave off Ben Hayden and Tim Cullison before I would ever leave off Mike Swanson. I am going to add Baden Fairbank to the postseason roster. I know he's hurt, but he should be back in the very near future. And this way I can just use him once he's healthy. Derek Mitchell playing center is not what I expected, but I guess if that's what the game wants to try, I suppose that's alright. And this is good. This is fine. So it's going to come down to Demoya, Swanson, and somebody else, presumably. Can we not randomly put my fucking closer into the rotation just for one game? But alright. Juan Demoya pitches a fantastic game. He has really turned into an exceptional pitcher, and I think there was a time when we were worried he would be a bust. But he has definitely turned out to be one of our better pitchers. And I'm happy about that. I'm really pleased that he is performing so well. And we just blow them out of the water. Amazing. Wildcard series done. Advance to the next round. We're facing Cleveland. Swanson is back in the rotation, as one might expect. And we get a narrow victory, but a narrow victory is still a victory, my friends. Ooh, that was a tight game. Demoya certainly looked pretty good as well, but then Luberta was not able to help us out there. Disappointing, but it happens. Another one-run loss. Oh dear. There we go. There we go. Can Mike Swanson bring it home? Or Juan Demoya? No, he cannot. In this case, the bullpen went full nuclear. Broaden completely shat the bed in every conceivable way. That's unfortunate, but it happens. And, yeah. Oof. Oh, this is a tightly contested series. 3 of the 5 games are decided by a single run. And I lost 2 of them. And I think that is demonstrative of why we probably lost. all things being equal, I think that's what cost us. The fact some of our better hitters weren't up to capacity, like Oviedo, was obviously disappointing. But I think it really came down to our relievers just disintegrating when placed into any kind of tight situation. I mean, let's be honest, our starting pitchers didn't cover themselves in glory either. So hopefully we can have ourselves a bit of a bounce back next season with McDevitt and whomever else we acquire to fill the final rotation spots. International free agents, yes. A thoroughly uninteresting class for the most part, I've got to admit. But I am one of the people that has maximum cash, so don't be full of it. Absolutely do not have 10 people invited. There you go. And run that practice. Really, Cleveland, you couldn't put up a better fucking fight than that. Nobody wants the Yankees to win. I mean, I guess that's not true. The Yankees do have fans, but they shouldn't win. Because they're big, dumb jerks. Damn it! God damn it, Cleveland. You had one fucking job. If you weren't going to let me win, you should have beaten the Yankees. But no, you got raffle stomped. They're their 30th title or whatever they're at by now. Lame. Very lame. PCL MVP for Dice Mel Minor. Very nice. Okay, Hunter Brown, are we going to bring you back? I don't think so. Even at $2.8 million, I think it's a ripoff. So I think we're going to go ahead and void that contract. Michael Mullinax of Mullinax Ford. He was okay. He was alright. And if that's damning with faint praise, then so be it. I do think I want to let you walk, though. Because I want some opportunities for some youngsters. Potentially. Some players have retired, but no coaches have. But give me Frankie Mendoza. Frankie Mendoza is a really good catcher. But I think I'd rather keep Biasco, at least for right now. DeWitt's up to number 3. Booker DeWitt. Let's break down how the season went, and then we can talk about other things. Let's look at the offense first. Rodolfo Romero was our leading hitter again. Maybe not as good, but he combined excellent offense with a really good defense. Like, Kanoe made a ton of errors. But that's an error not quite once every 10 games, and his range was phenomenal. He went from a pretty good shortstop to a Gold Glove caliber second baseman. So I think that's highly valuable and a good thing. Peyton Green is starting to slip. He is 31 years old. It is reasonable for him to not be, brilliant every day of his life. He's not quite a liability at third base, but he certainly could be a little bit better. And we do want to be looking for at least a midterm replacement for him. He's probably going to want a great big old contract extension, and I'm not willing to give him that unless he actually takes a pay cut. I needed Oviedo to show me something more this season, and he did show me more. But a lot of that came from better base running, and while that's great, he's wanting to get paid $11 million. And I struggle to see that this package, as it presently exists, is automatically worth $11 million. The question is there still farther to go, or is this just who he is right now? Is he going to hit for a decent average, a bit of pop, and run the base as well, and play pretty good defense for left field? That is a great question, and I don't know the answer to it. But it is something we're going to consider in the offseason. Caleb Sellers finally had his breakthrough campaign. I still hope there's more here, but hey, 30 bombs from your first baseman always plays well. And he has enough secondary offensive traits that it's not like home runs are his only calling card. He hit quite a few doubles. He had a pretty good batting average, drew some walks. Strike out more than you'd like, but altogether, this is a perfectly fine first baseman. And I'm pretty happy that we have him. Chris Hughes has been everything we hoped for and more. He basically turned in like a 1% worse version of his rookie year, but he played a full season. He is a little error prone at shortstop. This is the one part of his game I'm not as happy about. This is basically 2 errors every 10 games. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but he's also super young, and I'm willing to let him figure it out. I'm willing to let him play another season and then see where that gets us. But please stop showing me his useless fucking pitching, because that's not why he's here. Bayascoa, for the first time, actually put it together in the big leagues. He'll be definitely in the mix for an outfield spot if there are any open. I really don't want Derek Mitchell playing in center field, but the fact he was able to handle it at all speaks volumes for his capabilities. However, Mr. Mitchell, this was the worst season of your major league career. This is the worst full season of your major league career. And that doesn't fill me with joy. It fills me with deep, deep concern. Part of the problem, of course, was your injuries. But still, your rate numbers were really far off. Especially your batting average. And this really deeply concerns me. Because trading you is basically going to be a non-option. Like, nobody's going to trade for you. Most people can't even afford it. So I have misgivings about Mr. Mitchell here. We still need a new starting catcher. I really don't want Adonis Guzman being our starter again when he's replacement level. Like, maybe he's really good with the pitching staff, and so it's still worth doing it, but I'm still deeply concerned about his complete lack of offense. We're going to need a new catcher. Possibly also a bigger boat. So let's not lose sight of the fact we were second in runs scored. But I worry about how sustainable that is. I worry about how sustainable that's going to be. So we'll see what happens next season. The pitching, on the other hand, was excellent as usual. Swanson and DeMoya were both big-time contributors. You love to see that. Pete Howell was one of our best relievers and also happened to be a pretty good starter down the stretch. Camillo ended up being a fantastic acquisition for us. He went from an also-ran reliever that got the odds pitch here and there to like a genuine front-running reliever, and he did it very quickly. Chrisman ended up being pretty good. Hunter Brown, less so. Yeah. So next season, I think, like, McDevitt is going to have a chance to make the team in spring training. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But as for the rest of this, we will see next time. Thank you very much for watching, my friends. I hope you enjoyed the series. If you are, please remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.